You feel like Iron Man. You feel like Tony Stark. You feel like you've got the ability to build your own superpowers, your own suit. So this term agent is like way overloaded and overused. ChatGPT has a thing called agent. They're very different. Think of MindStudio. I'm going to intentionally make it dumb simple. Think of MindStudio as being an easy way to build multi-step AI macros that can work in all kinds of fuzzy situations. You're in control of the steps, of each part of the step, and how it operates.
Welcome to another episode of Money in the Bank with Frank. Today we have Dmitry Shapiro, and he has one of the most amazing technologies I've seen in quite some time at MindStudio. Dmitry, thanks for joining us today.
Yeah, excited to chat.
We talked about this. I heard about your product from a couple of friends that had, I think, probably invested in one of the raises, and
Mhm.
I was just, okay, well, let me take a look at it. And I've got these projects that I've been planning to work on, but of course don't have any expertise to do. And so when I found your boot camp and started digging in and fell in the rabbit hole, it's going to be able to do it eventually. Now, in capable hands, maybe someone could do it a lot quicker, but this is going to take me a little bit of learning, and I think it's well worth it. So before I go through any of these super smiling for a reason, I'll let Dmitry introduce yourself. Tell me, give me your testimony. How did you get here? How did you get to MindStudio? What's your history?
hmm I'm an old nerd. I started writing code in 1984 when I was 14 years old. I went to see the movie War Games in the theater, and it was like I gotta go hack. I was a troublemaker. That's what I
Yeah.
did. And then got a degree in electrical engineering. I've never done a day of it from Georgia Tech, not once. And then I've always done software since 1984. And so I'm currently running MindStudio.ai, which is a venture-backed company, raised $36 million here. Prior to this, I was at Google on the main campus for 4.25 years. On the product side, I ran a bunch of social graph, content discovery, some abuse things. So like wore a lot of product hats at Google. Before that, I was CTO of MySpace Music. Perhaps some folks are old enough to remember MySpace. And then before that, I built two other venture-backed companies. One was actually a big competitor to YouTube called VEOH, VEOH, raised $70 million there, competed with YouTube. Before that, I built a venture-backed cybersecurity company called Aconix Systems, raised $34 million for that. That had over 2 million deployed seats in enterprises doing perimeter security, like deep packet inspection, intrusion detection stuff. In the mid 90s, 95 to 99, I built the web team at this giant Japanese company called Fujitsu. I'm an old nerd. Yeah.
That's great. So you've been around the block. So tell me, this is such a powerful product. It seems like you must have been working on this prior to the launch of the models, or no?
Mm.
Did you know it was coming out, or did you just,
No.
yeah.
Yeah. So Sean Thielen, who's my co-founder, and I, we tend to see the world in the form of some people see the world opportunities in the world in the form of products, or I could build a product like this, and it's like this kind of a customer needs a product like that. Sean and I don't like building products, actually. We like building platforms. And platforms are different than products because platforms are things that do something, and perhaps other people can then go build products on those platforms, right? Um, and so whatever, like Stripe doesn't make anything; it just facilitates transaction. Shopify doesn't have any shops, but it facilitates the building of shops. And same thing with MindStudio. MindStudio does not have any AI models, but MindStudio facilitates taking AI models, and we call it orchestrating them, putting them together in workflows to do things, to create these things we call AI agents that can do the things that we used to do manually, right? And if we, again, look around our own workflows, whoever we are, we see that every day, we show up with our cup of coffee and then we like log into some system and we like get some data and then we do some thinking and then we'll do some research and then, we'll collaborate with our peers to do some stuff. And then we'll take that and we'll analyze all that and like write it up or put it in a bunch of other systems and send it over to the next department and they do their thing. Well, that's like modern day knowledge work factory. You can kind of think of that's, I don't care if you're a law office or, you're an IT startup. Same thing. If you're using computers to do work, knowledge work, this is what we do. We move things from one system to another. Well, guess what? Now, instead of actually doing that, we can step back and say, oh, well, if I'm going to keep doing this thing, maybe I'll just like connect these things together so I don't have to like be the translator in the middle of them anymore. And like every day at 9 a.m., instead of me doing this thing, let me just create this like, think of it as like an AI macro,
Macro, right? That's exactly what I was
you
going to
know?
say.
But it's an AI macro, and that means it's much easier to build and it can work in fuzzy, it can work in ambiguity. Where before macros, the idea of macros isn't new, but they were hard to build and they were very rigid. And so they had lots of limitations.
What's really interesting is my father, born in 1930, right? And then he ended up going to work in his later years, right before retirement, for the federal government. And he, like me, was not at the time not great at languages, if you will. And so he tried, but he was a big fan, like me as well, of working smart, not hard. So he did enough to learn how to create macros to do some of the things at his job. And they were really impressed that he did that. And, for me, I was, as I mentioned before in a conversation that we had prior to this, I never really liked trying to code. It was something that kind of scared me with the way that my mind works. Languages aren't great. And so I was fearful to use technology to its fullest, even though, I was an MCSE and handled a lot more of the hardware and Windows
Mhm,
NT back in those days. But,
mhm. I
uh,
was around.
yeah, so I have the framework in mind, and I was hoping that would be enough, and it was. The negative is that, like, for somebody in capable hands that understands the actual, like, I'm having some problems right now just understanding the opening prompts, closing prompts, but those are things that you're gonna learn, and they're worthwhile learning for this tool that
Mhm,
makes, as you said, all of these processes easy. It facilitates, like, makes your day more productive, and I find
mhm,
that just this is that productivity tool, that productivity boom that I think that we're looking for, or at least the
mhm.
beginnings of it. The tool to build the
Yeah, for
tool,
sure.
right?
Mhm. Yeah, listen, there are many like me, but I'm a productivity. I'm fascinated. I'm attracted to productivity. I aspire to be more productive, and so I've read books like Getting Things Done by David Allen, right?
Um,
Or I listen and watch Ali Abdaal, who's like the number one YouTube on productivity, or Tiago Fora, who's got a whole system for keeping yourself organized and whatever, right? But like the problem with all of those things is like then you still have to do all the work. Like keeping in those systems and doing that. And that's where everything all like the ideas are great, but the implementation doesn't scale.
mhm,
But now it does.
mhm,
And which by the way also makes all of those other things kind of irrelevant
mhm.
because you never needed those weird frameworks to do things.
Yeah.
You just needed to be able to automate stuff that you don't need to do anymore because it can easily be automated in the next 5 minutes, the next 15 minutes. Like the average build time for MindStudio AI agent, once again, you really get good at it, which will take you whatever a few hours of playing with it. You'll get good at it, and it's like anywhere from like 2 minutes to like 15 minutes, 30 minutes. It's very rare that you'll spend an hour
Mhm.
on an agent. And so you can like crank out a bunch of these one day and then come in the next day and say, I don't like the way I did that. Let me like do these now. And that kind of iteration of figuring out just the right thing, you're just like, wow, like the you feel like Iron Man. You feel like Tony Stark. You feel like you've got the ability to build your own superpowers, your own suit.
Yeah, right now, what I'm working on maybe is a product enhancement, but, like, what I'm working on is there's a project that I have in my mind that I've been doing manually for a while, and it's complicated in that there's, like, a lot of steps. As you said, I have to go in here, I've got to log into this platform, then look up to see whether or not there are any available opportunities. If there are, then I click on that link,
Uh-huh.
and then I have to go to another platform and look at
Mhm.
what the data is that they
Totally.
provided. And then once I download all that data, I can see whether or not there's one specific form that is usually the master of all the others, right? One ring, whatever. Anyway, and then from there, it's got to like decipher all this other stuff, see if there's data, goes to another file, and then so like I know that I
Mhm.
could build each one of those and then hopefully tie them all together. And
Mhm.
while right now my planning phase is an Excel spreadsheet, which I was like, how maybe you add that so that you can actually in your mind or something different, but like some way for me to or for the
Yeah, but listen, all the you perfectly articulated, perfect use case for MindStudio. Whenever you've got a bunch of steps that you have to do manually and you want to do them over and over again, you should not do that. Don't do them over and over again. Just take the time to build the agent and let that thing do it over and over again. And then never have to worry about it again. Or if you want to supervise it, great. Have it do all the heavy lifting. You just do the review. You now become the manager that like oversees this thing doing it. By the way, there's for folks, there's so MindStudio has been around for like 2.5 years now. There's over 200,000 of these AI agents that have been built and deployed, uh, inside of all kinds of organizations.
Mhm.
Individuals just using them for their own productivity or small business, obviously enterprise, government, His Majesty's Revenue and Customs, the British Tax Authority, uses it to automate recruiting. Not fully automate recruiting, but automate a bunch of functions in recruiting. Huge. Or
Sure.
a company called Advanced Local has over 300 of these AI agents that have been created by one person, one non-technical person, that automate news gathering. They're a 100-year-old newspaper publishing company. They publish many newspapers
Yeah.
in digital properties. They have a lot of manual work that journalists had to do manually. Journalists shouldn't have to do all that stuff. Agents can do it, prepare it. Journalists can look at it, fact check this, although the agents themselves do a bunch of fact checking. And so journalists can do the creative work of explaining it to humans rather than like, let me do a bunch of Google searches manually
Right.
or analyze these things or fact check these things or like check off all these boxes of things we have to do. Yeah.
Speaking of, again, it's interesting and just looking at the website and people who are involved, speaking of Google, I mean, it's kind of almost feels like a Google killer. Meanwhile, your entire cap stack looks like all Google people. How do you
Yeah. Well, I told you I was at Google for 4 years, and so I met lots of really interesting people. And then when I was leaving and saying, "Hey, I'm going to start a company," they're like, "Let me let me give you my money." And I'm like, "All right, I'll take it." But yeah, it's cool. Yeah, that list is much more impressive than I. Uh, yeah, it's a cool list, and they're all awesome people too, which makes it even better. So
Yeah, and it really
yeah,
I don't wanna keep geeking out on it, but it just really is worth everyone's time to see that this productivity tool could be used right now to automate stuff. I one weekend and I created, previews of, 3 or 4 different agents that actually are and I'm non-technical, I mean, once I got past the fear of actually, like, is it really gonna be this hard or am I gonna be able to do it? Once I got past that and started digging in, it was very easy.
yeah. I mean, there's nothing technical to do. Even if you were technical, you actually wouldn't necessarily have much more power than non-technical people. Like once in a while, you might find yourself in some place where you're trying to integrate to some system, and for whatever reason, like the integration isn't very clear. Their APIs are bad. And you need to do a bunch of work in the middle. Well, so somebody who can write code could very quickly, again, in a matter of a few minutes, sort of create a unique connector for this. But now we actually have it built into the system. So like even those people don't have to write the code. You can just explain in plain English what you want it to do. MindStudio creates its own custom connectors for you.
Yeah.
As long as you can articulate it. By the way, it doesn't even have to be in English. It could be in Chinese if you want. Pick your language. Just explain to the thing what you want it to be.
Yeah.
And, and so, yeah.
Do you do you, and, you know, if you don't have anything available, that's fine. We can segment that out. But my thought is, do you have an idea? Do you have, something that you might wanna demo and show kind of your favorite use case for it? The easiest one that people could use to figure
Oh,
out?
sure, sure. Yeah, happy to do it. And I think the other thing, I'll do it in a second here.
Yeah.
Um, we host lots of trainings, and so there's a bunch of ways to learn. You can learn on your own,
Mhm.
just look on our website, click on Learn, right? MindStudio.ai,
Yeah.
or you
YouTube.
can join our yeah, there's lots of tutorials. That's how most people learn. Yeah. Or you can join, we do lots of live workshops. We do like 2-hour workshops. We do 2 full day immersive, intense boot camps. We do a 5-day boot camp. We do a 30-day boot camp. So whatever you're into, there's ways to either do it on your own or have us lead you through doing things. These are the paid ones that you're showing here. We've got lots and lots of free stuff as well. All of these come with certification. They're starting all the time. Okay, so learning it is really easy. And yeah, let me show you just a quick demo, and like let's quickly build an agent, right? Like this is how easy I think. Uh, Let me quickly share my screen. Okay, so the agent we're going to build is, let me show you a demo of it first. So this is just a website, Matthew Ball. And this is just a long read of a bunch of like dense, important information. Let's say that I care about this and I want to understand it. Well, again, in the past, I'd have to like get some coffee and get my little notebook and spend some time reading this. Well, I don't have to do that anymore because I've got a little button over here. And this is the button we're going to make. I can just push this little button and it instantly grabs whatever it is that's here, like this entire page, and sends it to my agent. And this agent here, called TLDR, is specifically instructed to extract all the key learnings from all of this stuff. And it'll go through, and it's as if it's reading it. So I can be yapping or doing whatever, and it's going through. And again, this is a long read, and there's a lot of learnings. And it's extracted, but it's much faster than I would or anything else. Okay. And so whatever, it'll go through and it might take 15 seconds, could take a minute, depending on how long it is. And then it's done and you do it. I'll keep this open. I'm going to come back here. Now, this exact same thing, same button, works on, let's say, YouTube videos. This is a 2-hour video. I've run these on 8-hour videos. I can push the same button. It knows how to find the transcript. And then it sends the transcript to my agent. And instead of me watching this video for an hour at 2 times speed, paying attention and taking notes, I just get all the data. And so like I get the knowledge of a 2-hour or an 8-hour video in a matter of moments, while mere mortals will have to take hours and hours and a lot of their mental attention to do that. That's crazy. By the way, I can use that. Obviously, this one's done already. And so once it's done, you can make a copy, you can share it. By the way, you can do other things. So you could say, like, extract all entities mentioned. And so it'll go read it again and it'll give me whatever stuff is mentioned in here. Now, I actually never read this thing, but like, here you go. And I could have like done this manually, I guess, but that would have taken a long time to do. And I'm like, I shouldn't do that. Okay. So let's build this bot. No, one last thing. Let's run it on this. If you go to like some place like Twitter, for example, and you want to understand why the US's economy is in the tank, you could either read things or you can push this exact same button, and it knows how to get you not to have to read anything on X, just extract all the learnings. And so the same button works on anything or PDFs or anything else. So this is a 182-page financial disclosure from Goldman Sachs. You can read it or you can push a button, and that button can read it and extract all the learnings or do a fundamental analysis in this case. Okay, let's build that agent and make sure you don't blink. Okay, check this out. We say build new agent. We give it a name, TLDR. We can configure many other things. We click plus. We have to trigger an agent. And so we get to choose how it gets triggered. There's a bunch of ways. It could be triggered on a schedule, just running automatically on a schedule, or it can be triggered by you sending an email to it that gets a custom email address. So you can just like copy agents on long threads, for example, that you're having in negotiating with someone, and they can take off and do a bunch of enrichment and do a bunch of like put in your CRM or whatever, like easy to do that. In many other ways, we're just going to say browser extension. And that means that we're going to make one of these little buttons over here on the right-hand side that's here. Okay. And so far all we've done is we've given it a name, and then we said browser extension. And now we're just going to say plus, and there's many different blocks, we call them, that you can add, many different types of blocks, 110 here, another 660 here. We're just going to use this first one, generate text. Oops, means call a large language model in this case. And I can simply say, extract all learnings, and then use double curly braces. This is above the enter key, double curly braces. As soon as I type double curly braces, it gives me this drop down. We're looking for this thing here called page content. By the way, there's many other things in here as well. Page content, and that's it, we're done. I can just hit publish. So we've already built that magic button that knows how to like deal with YouTube and deal with PDFs and deal with any web page. And now we can simply, let's close this, let's close this, let's go back maybe to our, long read again, just for demo. And so these things I've been using, these are called pinned, meaning they're always with me because they are my favorites. So they're pinned. This one we just made. So I have to click on this little M, and it shows me all the other agents. I have many other agents. Here I'm just going to say this is the one we made, TLDR. I say run. And again, it's going to grab all this content, and it's going to extract all the learnings. And we did all of that in no time flat. We said browser extension. We said extract all the learnings, and we said publish. And so, and then there's like many, obviously, agents that can have many more blocks that do many more things, but they're all kind of the same, like this, which is you create, these workflows, one or many workflows, and you configure blocks to do things.
Right. So basically,
Not
what,
hard.
to encompass it, like how I could use this for a podcast video is you could run this TLDR, right, on this particular thing, whatever you want to
Yeah.
research. And then once it gives you all of that data, you could create it and say, go to this particular model, whether it's Perplexity or ChatGPT or whichever large language model you wanted to use, and then have
Mhm.
it create, a podcast outline or summary. And it could literally,
Or the podcast itself.
right. And
Yeah, we have a block that allows you to generate synthetic podcasts of two people talking about anything, choose different voices, etc. It could write the script for you that you can just read it as a talking head. So you don't have to do the analysis. It could automatically create content for LinkedIn for you to post, or it can post it for you, and for Instagram and for TikTok and for YouTube and for Substack, and publish it to your blog. And
yeah, it's
it's
amazing.
just more blocks. What else do you want it to do? Tell it what you want it to do. It wants to please. And the way you tell it what you want it to do is by putting blocks on there and configuring them.
What I try to do is I try to get, again, you're a multiple founder, serial entrepreneur, product development, but truly productivity creator. And,
Mhm.
I like to think of things in Fibonacci sequences like, 100 plus years ago, not too long ago, actually, we were all like probably 90% of the population was doing something to do with agricultural food products, right?
Mhm.
Packing, picking, growing. Now, like 3% of the world's population is doing that, right? And has
Mhm.
that freed us up to do more productive things? Absolutely. And, computers and Google and the internet has allowed a tremendous amount of productivity, but it still has the human in the way where you have multiple layers and multiple layers of failure. And that's what I think large language models are going to help alleviate, but it's going to take a bridge technology. The one thing I say about large language models a lot is that it allows creative people like me, not people that are linear in nature, coders and those types, engineering types tend to think in a certain way that is more structured. And large language models can actually take some of the nuance of what I want to do if it has a bridge to something like yours that will allow us to be creative on what we needed to do.
Mhm. Spot on. Yeah, that's that you I totally agree. You nailed it. Yeah, I've described it before in this way. So, um if we look at manufacturing, like you brought up agriculture, right? And people know about that. But look at manufacturing, uh, and kind of the transformation that manufacturing has gone through from like sort of early artisans that did everything themselves, And then we gave him some power tools. We got the loom and steam engine, like lots of other things that we gave him. And then some smart people said, hey, just giving better tools to independent artisans actually isn't the right way. Let's sort of architect systems and we'll create mass production. And we put people on an assembly line and we started architecting assembly lines. And if we looked at that in like the, mid 20th century, what we had was like a bunch of really well-trained people with incredible equipment, like sweating on assembly lines, assembling parts. But now if you look at a modern factory, it looks nothing like that. There's still people there, but the people don't assemble things. People uh, supervise and upgrade machinery that does that, because machinery can do it much more consistently, much faster. You can scale it much better, less dangerous for people to do it, right? But if you look into like manufacturing has evolved dramatically. About the same thing with agriculture. Like agriculture is extraordinarily automated. But the last sort of frontier has been knowledge work. Because the average office, if you sort of compare it on that same spectrum that I was just articulating for manufacturing, well, it's still in the like early 20th century, where you've got a bunch of like people very lightly sort of trying to do this like dance together of like moving information around. Everything's fuzzy. Most companies are a complete mess. Like even if they've got processes, like everything is falling through the cracks all the time. The reason we say every day is different about knowledge work is because it's all chaos. It's like, and humans are good at dealing with chaos. And we're like, yeah, that's what we do. But guess what? It doesn't have to be chaos. It can run much more like a factory where humans are still there and they're doing the smart stuff. They're not doing all the chaotic dance. What they're paying attention now is like optimization. This process is running like this. Oh, let's test it this way. Or now that we have this insight, let's merge these two processes and collapse them and we'll do things this way. Oh, that's running much faster. And like that's the new knowledge work. That this is the new job. And that's why, these like folks that are graduating computer science degrees and like complaining nobody wants to hire me to write junior code. Right. That's not what we need anymore. We don't need more people writing junior code. What we need are people, creative people, people that are curious, people that can show up and look at something and say, why are we doing it that way? Wouldn't it be better if it just did this? And just like trying it. And the cool thing here is like, meaning we used to have those people. They were like these big consultancies. You could pay them a few $1,000,000 and they could waste, you know, many years of your company's life to evaluate your processes and the bobs from
Yeah,
office space,
right,
right?
exactly, exactly.
So this is the nano lightweight version of the same thing you get to do yourself. You get to like look at yourself and say, what is it exactly that you do here?
Mhm.
And then say, oh, let's change the way we do some of this stuff. And it's fun and it's super powerful and like the ROI is insane.
Yeah, I
The
can imagine.
competitive advantage is insane.
The way I see it, the way I think about it as well is that, everything that we've done has been binary since fire, right? Like
Mm,
piston goes up and down, right? And then you've got the
mhm,
computer, counts zeros and ones just very, very, very fast, right? And you can do amazing things with it by making it
mhm,
count zeros and ones very, very fast, which was
mhm,
still binary. But this is going to allow it to be more than just binary because you're able to not just code it, you're able to talk to it and have it figure out those processes in real time. So that should, by definition, allow for a tremendous amount of progress. And, we're at the beginning phases of it, but the tools to build the tools, right?
mhm. Yeah, we're the beginning phases of it, but it's moving extraordinarily quickly.
Right.
And that's why, again, like Advanced Local's got over 300 agents. They just hired another, built by one person. They just hired another person out of our community to have them built many more. It's like 300 agents is scratching the surface. And so and so like they're completely sort of re-architecting the way that this 100-year-old company
What
moves. And in fact, I was talking to David Cohn there, who's the guy that did
mhm,
this, and he said to me, well, I think like the first time we met, he's like, we're never early adopters of technology. Like we're specifically very late adopters.
mhm,
He said, except for this time. And I think like this is the most important time for us to be early adopters. And he was spot on. Like that thing's transformed. And he now sits in the office of the CEO. So he describes his job as like butterflying around the organization, spending a day with this team, and then coming back tomorrow. Here's some tools I've built for you. Here's some, automation, and then butterfly around to some other place.
I had I had an intern a couple of summers ago, and he had just gone into um, a management information systems degree at OU, and he comes back out, the next semester. He's like, I don't know what I'm going to do. They're teaching me stuff that doesn't matter anymore, and I remember that from my time whenever I went from high school into college, and that's why I reference that Microsoft Certified Systems Engineer certification,
Hmm.
which wasn't like something that you did through the school. You did it through
Hmm.
Microsoft on a project basis, like you're doing with MindStudio AI. This is perhaps an opportunity for all of those students that wanted to actually get ahead of their teachers and get ahead of the professors and learn how to use productivity tools like a plumber does an internship and learns, their trade, right? Don't be the
Yeah.
new useless guy that's learning the old stuff, you know?
Yeah. This is the new vocation. This is the new trade. All these boot camps that we do, where again, you can just go get trained. Um, Sometimes I refer to them as trade school. And this is what everybody wants. This is the skill set. And it doesn't matter if you have an MBA
It's
or you studied physics or you've got no degree. It doesn't really matter at all. Because what the next wave is of business, knowledge work business, is transforming the way organizations operate.
Mhm,
Everybody's a consultant now. Meaning from consulting from the standpoint of like, let's re-architect the
mhm.
workflows. Yeah. And again, there's like an insatiable need for this. Companies come to us every week asking us to introduce them to people that can help them move faster
Right.
in doing it. And so we're training their employees, we're training other people to potentially be their employees. And so
How is that
most of my
going?
time is actually
Are
spent in this.
how is that going? Are you facilitating these introductions based on the better candidates that are going through the program, or is
Yeah,
it
we don't
just
rank candidates right now. We've got again, we're running this boot camp, actually multiple boot camps, and people go through it and they learn to use MindStudio. They pass a test. They create a they build a capstone project, and so we know that they are qualified to be certified developers. We have these different levels of certification: one, two, three. Three is the highest right now. Okay, and so yeah, people who've gotten level 3 certified are extraordinarily qualified to go into organizations of any type and help them do that. And so we've got a partner directory and we've got a certified developer directory where companies can come and look for and interview and meet people, whether they want to engage them as consultants or as an agency or hire them full time. They show up all the time, like our Slack that we use for boot camps, and just hire people. I was telling you about David Cohn that just hired Lewis, who's just a member of our community. Lewis used to be a technical writer. He was actually unemployed technical writer. He was looking for a job. He discovered
right?
MindStudio. Now he's a master AI developer working for Advanced Local to help him transform this giant organization.
Isn't that
And so
amazing?
yeah, we are yeah, in the last 2 weeks we've graduated almost 100 new AI agent developers from our current boot camp. There's another over 100 that are going to graduate in over the next 2 weeks. And we've got new sessions that are starting. In fact, they just got announced.
Well, it's a great opportunity really for anybody who, I've been saying to my wife or anybody who will listen that this is an exciting time because I've never seen a time where you like if you really wanted a job or you want to start your own company or start some sort of opportunity with the use of tools like these and with large language models, you don't have to have a degree in biology to figure out whether or not like an idea would work. You've got it right
Hmm.
at your fingers. You've got and like for
Hmm.
organizations that already have processes, coming at it from a completely different view, from like a copywriter's point of view, you know, might allow
Hmm.
for a better outcome.
For sure, for sure. No, look, the skill set. I get pinged all the time by, parents of students. They're about to enter college, or, I've got 5 kids. And so they periodically ask me, like, what should I study? They're still
Yeah.
young. My
Yeah.
oldest is 11, but um, I'm certain that the thing to study is communication
Mhm.
or fundamentals. You want to go study math and physics and political science and history and philosophy. Like, all of these are like wonderful things to study. If you want to study computer science because you love writing code, code's still a thing that's valuable. Sure, go study it. But I just want to get a job. Like, if you want to get a job, like a high paying job, like a prestigious, has a bright future job with
Yeah.
writing code
Yeah.
used to be. Well, that job, that's called AI agent developer. That's the name of the job. You can call yourself whatever you want.
Mhm.
Architect, some people call themselves a builder, AI ninja. I don't care what you call, but the job is the ability to orchestrate models, to orchestrate intelligence.
Mhm.
That's the only meaningful job that I see being like a vocational job and kind of white collar vocation. It's the plumbing, electrical, HVAC of the knowledge world is AI agent builder. It pays, all those actually pay really well too. This one pays even more because the ROI here is insane.
Yeah.
Although the ROI on good plumbing is also insane.
That's great.
So
So what are you working on? What are thoughts that you want people to I saw Sohail, do you want to bring that back up so that Dmitry can talk about the boot camps that are coming up?
yeah, so we've got multiple ways for people to learn. One way is just go to our website and click learn, and we have a thing called MindStudio University, which is a bunch of content which is written as guides and also as templates and also as video tutorials. So there's hours and hours of video tutorials. You can just sit back with your cup of coffee or your martini, whatever, floats your boat, and sit back and learn these skills. They are really straightforward to learn. You need no technical skills. If you're terrified of code, don't worry about it. You don't need to see any code. You just need to be starting to think, can I articulate? Could I write a document that would explain to some new intelligent human what I want them to do? If the answer is yes, then you're good to go. So you can learn on your own. You can also join these, lead trainings that we have, where we lead you through it, kind of walk you through it. And we do these like 2 hour free workshops where you can just join them. We do them multiple times a week. Just look for a schedule, register, join. In 2 hours, you're going to leave feeling, oh wow, I can build agents. That's awesome. Go spend the rest of the afternoon building agents, or you can take longer boot camps and get certified. So we have a 2 day immersive boot camp, a 5 day boot camp, and a 30-day boot camp. And if you've got 30 days and you want to dedicate to it, you're going to get, that's what I'm graduating right now. Those people I was telling you about, they're AI ninjas, and they've got superpowers, and no mere mortal could come even close to being able to do what they do. Of all the people that anybody could want to hire, I don't know any more important people to hire than people that have that skill set. I don't care if you're a small org, I don't care if you're a big org, I don't care what industry you're in.
Mhm.
This is the stuff that's going to make you successful. It's going to cut your costs, it's going to let you move faster, it's going to give you the competitive advantage, it's going to give you intelligent competitive advantage. You can analyze the world that you've never been able to do. Like, you've thought about, oh, some big organizations have these like amazing strategy teams, and these strategy teams like have these like insane tools and insane budgets, and boy, wouldn't it be awesome if my mid-market company had that. Guess what? You don't need those strategy teams. Your AI agents, they won't run circles around them. They're just like there's no competition, you see.
Uh,
And anyone can have that. Like, you can be a pizza shop and have the best strategy teams in the world, understanding how other pizza shops are pricing their things, and how users' tastes are evolving in your neighborhood, and how to become the next, franchised pizza place. All the information is out there, available in real time.
mhm.
You just need to build the agent to go and give it to you, and then
And
go
then send
wild.
someone to
Send me some.
execute the plan, right? Because it's all just on paper until someone executes it, right? But still, that's fine. We need people to do all parts of that, right? So
Hmm.
But this is, this allows, for less CapEx on pretty much any company, right? Like if
Oh, for sure.
if you can model it first, right? Because we always say failing to plan is planning to fail, right? And
Hmm.
if you're able to use the most cutting edge technology out there to help you create that plan, to create that model right now the right way, then there's probably a better chance of less capital expenditures by making the mistakes that may have been easily avoided.
No doubt about it. Yeah.
Right.
There's no may.
Yeah.
This is a certainty. Yes. All the problems that you never had time to solve, all the questions you never had time to research and answer that were important, but you just didn't have time to do it or didn't take the time to do it.
Mhm.
Well, now you do. In fact, if you don't, then kind of shame on you because like you're sort of not you're not doing it the right way,
Yeah.
right? Like move with intelligence.
Yeah.
Understand markets before you waste your time trying to get there. Understand what's working, what's not working. Create countless A/B tests for everything. Custom sales collaterals for everyone. If you're not sending each one of your customers a completely custom sales collateral pack that already knows more about them than they remember about themselves, that's that's when you get people to say that they should buy your product instead of your competition's, is when your product is fit like a glove and the competition's like selling generic junk.
I was just gonna send him a chocolate and wine basket, and now you're gonna ruin that for me?
That works. That meats and cheeses, bourbon, and chocolate. Yeah, I mean, listen, fundamentals are still fundamentals. Send the chocolate.
Yeah, yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
Alright, so on the publishing aspect, is there a way for someone to create an agent and monetize it on your platform?
Mm. Oh yeah, people do all the time. You can take agent. Well, there's a bunch of ways to monetize them. One is obviously all these people that have learned to build AI agents are now building them for customers. Every company needs AI agents built. And so these are consultants or agencies that go off and build these things for customers, charge a lot of money because the ROI is insane. You're automating things. That's one. Another one's obviously people are learning this, getting promoted. They're making money. Other people have launched like AI SaaS businesses where they build a bunch of agents, they put them behind a paywall, and they let people access those agents behind the paywall, either on a monthly basis or on a metered basis, and doing it. There are people who have built businesses that are
Mm,
autonomous, that just generate content multiple times a day, every day, post it on social media. Their audience grows. YouTube pays them more money and TikTok pays them more money as their audience grows. It's like farming, like content farming in a sense,
that's
right?
great.
People are so creative. It's like whatever you do manually, now you can just automate it. And yeah, there are countless ways to make money with
Great.
this.
Thanks, Dmitry. Well, hey, I
Or
appreciate.
whatever the day trading example that I gave you.
Yeah.
That that guy is killing it, just like being able to monitor, changes in sentiment
Mhm.
on Google Trends. Holy crap. That's insane. If you can detect that people are starting to talk more about like Tesla's supply chain issues before other people can detect that. Well,
Well, yeah, communication, it's always about the speed to market, right? Finding out that news ahead of
yeah,
time. That's amazing.
yeah.
Dimitri, thank you
Yeah. Find
so
a needle
much
and
for being on the show. I know you've got limited time. I look forward to releasing this one. Thanks so much.
my pleasure. Yeah. Anytime.